Hi, my name is Daniela, and for my final project, the topic I wanted to discuss is life before the internet and how our media from today shapes our culture. So I wanted to explore how communication in everyday life was different before the internet and what those types of differences reveal about how media shapes culture and communication today. My guiding question for this project was, how was life and communication before the internet compared to today? And how have these changes affected social behavior and cultural values? To answer this, I interviewed my mom about her experiences growing up before the internet and how it was a part of everyday life. So my mom described the time when people relied on landline phones, handwritten letters, printed materials, television, and face-to-face interaction to stay connected and informed. This is completely different from today, where communication happens instantly through phones, social media, and online platforms. I chose this interview because it allowed me to directly compare the two different media environments. The pre-internet era through my mom's experience, in the digital age through my real lived experience. So, for what my mom disliked about life before the internet, after I asked her what she disliked about it, she told me that the things she first disliked were communication difficulties, such as long distance and international phone calls, due to them being very expensive. This meant communication with people far away was limited and very carefully planned, unlike today where calls and messages are instant and mostly free. I mean, like, sometimes you might have to pay if you're calling like with your phone number internationally, but there's always WhatsApp, Instagram, and stuff like that where calls are completely free. And you can also buy, I think, internet when you're overseas and stuff. Second, schoolwork and applications required a lot of printing and copying without online submissions or digital documents, so tasks took more time and effort. The third thing my mom disliked was access to academic and scientific information was very limited, and so research required going to libraries and using physical books rather than quick searching online, like how we Google search or ask ChatGPT for questions. Hearing this really made me realize how much easier communication and education are today thanks to the internet. So I asked my mom what she did like about the internet, and what she told me about what she did like about life before the internet was the face-to-face interaction. She really emphasized to me how face-to-face interactions were much more common and valued. People spent more time talking in person rather than through screens. She also mentioned that handwritten letters felt more personal and authentic, so communication took much more effort back then, which made it more meaningful. Finally, she talked about how people were more engaged in both indoor and outdoor activities. Entertainment often involves social interaction, hobbies, or physical activities rather than scrolling on a phone. Listening to my mom's responses really changed how I saw life before the internet. On one hand, the internet has made life so much easier. Long-distance communication, homework, and access to information are faster, easier, and more convenient than ever. But on the other hand, I've noticed that compared to older movies and TV shows from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, there seems to be much less face-to-face interaction today, and it's much more rare that people in this generation even try to go outside of their comfort zone. That's something that I've really noticed. This also suggests that while media and technology have improved greatly and made certain things in life so much easier and faster, at the same time, it may have reduced the value of in-person communication and social interaction. Using the cultural model helped me understand these changes much more clearly. So, before the internet, life moved way slower and communication required planning and effort, unlike today's digital age where everything is so convenient, there's so much speed and instant connectivity. So also, different generations experienced different media. It's something that we also should be taking into account. For example, older generations adapted to digital media later in life, while younger generations grew up with digital media due to always having internet access since we were born. So, in the past, communication depended more on postal services, phone companies, television, networks, unlike today where they depend way more on tech companies and social media platforms, because these are often how people interact with each other. So, in history, there has really been a shift that shows how much media has evolved from physical and local forums to more digital and global ones, deeply influencing social norms and cultural values. So, overall, this project really helped me understand that social media and internet doesn't just make life easier, it actively shapes how people socialize and form relationships. The internet has greatly improved access to information and communication, but at the same time, it has also changed how much we value face-to-face interaction and community since the age of the internet. By comparing my mom's experiences to my own, I learned that social media really plays a powerful role in Gen Z. And while it is a good thing, because you're able to connect with people all around the world, you're able to text your friends anytime you need to, at the same time, it really has decreased the value of face-to-face interaction. Gen Z is so much more isolated and socially anxious than any other generation, and it really takes a toll on our mental health and physical health as well. There have been studies about loneliness being as damaging to your mental health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And people who experience social isolation are 32% more likely to suffer an early death. There's also studies where, in the study about how many adults in the US feel lonely, it says that 61% of US adults reported feeling lonely, which in the year that it was taken was 7% higher from the last year. But 79% of the people that felt lonely in the study are Gen Z. So there are several factors, which are things such as the age of the internet decreasing in-person interactions and Gen Z being less likely to go outside of their comfort zone. I don't believe that the problem is that we live in the age of the internet where everybody's on their phones. I believe that the problem is that things such as the internet, our phones, and AI are starting to replace face-to-face in-person interaction. Thanks for watching.